Chapter 91. Monster. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 91. Monster. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation Boom. Chen Xiaofeng took a step forward as his surging True Essence power swept out. 9th level of the True Essence realm. He has reached such a realm at such a young age. It's no wonder he is a genius of the Qinyan sect. The first elder of the Huoya sect stroked his beard and commented with a smile. What a pity. His opponent is even stronger. Seeing this, the elder of the Shinshan sect responded with a smile. Boom. An even more powerful force swept out, and wisps of purple spiritual power soared into the sky. What? Purple Spirit Realm. When Chen Xiaofeng saw this, his expression changed. He had not expected this fellow to reach the Purple Spirit Realm one step ahead of him. Other than the Shinshan sect cultivators, the eyes of the Huoya and Qinyan sect cultivators displayed their shock. First level of the Purple Spirit Realm. Although his cultivation level was not high, he was still a genuine Purple Spirit Realm cultivator. When was the last time a Purple Spirit Realm cultivator appeared in the competition between the three great sections? It had been ages since that happened. However, they now knew very well that Chen Xiaofeng would definitely lose this battle. Their talents were evenly matched. However, the gap between the Purple Spirit Realm and the True Essence Realm was like a natural chasm. How could he overcome it? You can't win. Surrender. The eldest disciple of the Shinshan sect looked at Chen Xiaofeng indifferently. He did not regard Chen Xiaofeng as his opponent at all. This guy was so arrogant. However, when they thought about the strength of the other party, they felt that it was warranted. Even if the other party had not reached the Purple Spirit Realm, even if he was only at the 10th level of the True Essence Realm, Chen Xiaofeng would still be unable to defeat him. Let's fight and find out. Seeing this, Chen Xiaofeng gritted his teeth. His pride would not allow him to admit defeat. The next second, the long sword in his hand released dazzling sword qi as it slashed towards the eldest disciple of the Shinshan sect. As the eldest disciple of the Qinyan sect, how could he lose without a fight? Even if he lost in the end, he had to protect the dignity of the Qinyan sect at all costs. How can an ant shake a tree? Seeing this, the eldest disciple of the Shinshan sect shook his head with disdain. He slowly clenched his right hand, and wisps of purple spiritual power swept out. Moments later, his 5 fingers formed a fist, and a purple fist suddenly appeared and flew toward Chen Xiaofeng. A Purple Spirit Realm expert was extremely terrifying. With just one punch, he heavily injured Chen Xiaofeng, smashing him into the defensive array. Boom! Pft! Chen Xiaofeng's hand, which was holding the long sword, trembled involuntarily. Streams of blood flowed from his palm, and his face had turned extremely pale. He could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. With just one punch, he had been defeated. Moreover, his opponent had not used his full strength. Otherwise, this punch could have killed him. At the thought of this, Chen Xiaofeng revealed a desolate expression. Half a month ago, when he was fighting against Li Qinyan, this had been the case too. He almost died from her windstorm slash. Now, he had also almost been killed by the eldest disciple of the Shinshan sect. What the F***ck is going on? Why are there so many monsters? Why can I not keep up with them? Although it's cruel, this is reality. The eldest disciple of the Shinshan sect looked at Chen Xiaofeng indifferently. Although there was no sarcasm in his words, his eyes were full of contempt. Hee, your strength is indeed terrifying, but you may not be able to win the competition. Chen Xiaofeng used the long sword in his hand to support himself as he got up off the ground with difficulty. He stood up and wiped the blood from his lower lip. Is it because of that Li Qinyan? Seeing this, the eldest disciple of the Shinshan sect raised his eyebrows slightly and then revealed a smile. Even if Li Qinyan's strength is as you said, even if she is able to unleash the strength of a purple spirit realm cultivator, she is still not an actual purple spirit realm cultivator. Do you think that she will actually be able to defeat me? The strength of the purple spirit realm is not something you can imagine. Only after you have truly entered the purple spirit realm will you truly understand it. The eldest disciple of the Xinshan sect smiled faintly. He first looked at Chen Xiaofeng, then his gaze fell on the many cultivators of the Qingyun sect. He naturally knew that the move that Li Qinyan used in the Qingyun sect competition already possessed the power of the purple spirit realm cultivator. However, it was not her own power. In the end, it was only one attack. He was a true first-level purple spirit realm cultivator. How could a true essence realm cultivator compare to him? Even his casual attacks contained an extremely powerful purple spiritual power. No matter how powerful Li Qinyan's martial technique was, it could not be used continuously, right? Seeing this, Chen Xiaofeng turned silent. The other party was indeed a true first-level purple spirit realm cultivator. Although Li Qinyan's attack would probably injure him, it was too difficult for her to defeat this guy. I have an inexplicable desire to see senior sister Li Qinyan chop him up with her sword. Exactly, this guy is asking for a beating. Look at his arrogant expression. I really want to slap him. But what can we do? After all, the other party only stated a fact. Although senior sister Li Qinyan can temporarily unleash the strength of a purple spirit realm cultivator, she is only a true essence realm cultivator in the end. That's right. The gap between the purple spirit realm and the true essence realm is like a natural chasm. It's too difficult to cross. I just can't stand this guy's arrogance. What's there to be proud of? Isn't it just the first level of the purple spirit realm? Can his talent be compared to Elder Yi Xian? Throughout the entire Great Qian dynasty, which genius can be compared to Elder Yi Xian? He has only reached the first level of the purple spirit realm at the age of 19. Isn't that embarrassing? Elder Yi Xian reached the core formation realm at the age of 20. That's right. Based on this guy's achievements, he's not even worthy of carrying Elder Yi Xian's shoes. In terms of strength, perhaps this guy is currently the strongest, but in terms of talent and age, Elder Yi Xian's disciple definitely has you beaten, okay? Although they are only true essence realm cultivators, that's because they are younger than you. That's right. If they were your age, senior sister Yu and senior sister Li Qinyan would definitely crush you. At this moment, many cultivators of the Qingyun sect were furiously arguing. This guy was too arrogant. Although there was no mockery on the surface, the contempt contained in his words and expression was extremely clear. Were it not for the fact that they could not beat him, they would have ran up to the stage to give him a slap. When the eldest disciple of the Xinshan sect heard their words, his face turned purple. He had not expected the disciples of the Qingyun sect to be so vicious with their words. At the age of 19, he had already reached the first level of the purple spirit realm. He was already a super genius in the Great Qian dynasty. As long as nothing unexpected happened, he would definitely be able to advance to the core formation realm in the future. Even the current him, after revealing his identity and strength, would be able to command awe and respect, especially in those more ordinary cities and sects, where they would treat him like their ancestor and worship him. However, in the eyes of this group of cultivators from the Qingyun sect, he was a worthless person. Furthermore, he could not refute their words. Yi Xian, this guy, was too monstrous. Yi Xian was a monstrous existence that suppressed all of the genius cultivators of the Great Qian dynasty. In addition, in the eyes of the Qingyun sect cultivators, it seemed that Yi Xian's disciples were even more monstrous than him. One had reached the 6th level of the true essence realm before she was 15, and the other had reached the 9th level of the true essence realm before the age of 18. In comparison, he had only been a Qi transformation realm cultivator at the age of 14. So it seems that I am not as monstrous as others. Chapter 92. One Sword Strike. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 92. One Sword Strike Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, however, although he could admit that he was inferior to Yi Xian, he would never admit that he was inferior to his disciples. No matter how monstrous Yi Xian's disciples' talent is, at the very least, they are currently inferior to me. Humph. There is no absolute fairness in this world. Later, I will defeat them one by one. At that time, I will see what these disciples of the Qinyan sect have to say. The eldest disciple of the Divine Mountain sect could only console himself inwardly like this. Only then did his expression take a turn for the better. However, now that his fight had already ended, he would have to wait until the second elimination round of the competition to see if he would face Yu or Li Qinyan. During this period, Yu and Li Qinyan also welcomed their opponents. Everyone's gazes fell on the two beautiful women. They could not help but scream in excitement. When the two women defeated their opponents with just one sword strike, many of the disciples of the Qinyan sect jumped up in excitement. Senior Sister Li, Senior Sister Li, Senior Sister Yu. Senior Sister Yu. At this moment, the crowd's screams resounded throughout Qinyan Mountain. Their strength is indeed formidable. I had not expected the stories of the Qinyan sect disciples to be true. The cultivators of the Huoye and Shinshan sects were shocked when they saw this. Yu and Li Qinyan were as powerful as the rumor said. Moreover, the two girls' opponents were too weak, so they had not even revealed their true strength. Therefore, the true cultivation level of these two girls was still unknown. It's really strange. What kind of secret technique are they using? Why can it block our spiritual sense probing? Seeing this, the elders in the audience frowned. Up until now, they still could not figure out Li Qinyan and Yu's cultivation levels. Normally, cultivators could indeed use secret techniques to conceal their cultivation. However, during a battle, once they started channeling their spiritual power to use martial techniques, they would no longer be able to conceal their cultivation. However, what shocked them was that their spiritual senses were still unable to sense Yu and Li Qinyan's cultivation levels while they fought their opponents. In other words, unless the two women took the initiative to expose their cultivation levels voluntarily, no one would be able to figure out their level of strength. It seemed that Yi Xian had imparted a high-level secret technique to these two women. These two girls are really extremely lucky to have been able to meet such a good teacher like Yi Xian. For a moment, the elders of the Huoye and Shinshan sects all revealed looks of envy. A secret technique that could conceal one's cultivation was already extremely rare, let alone a secret technique that could conceal one's cultivation while fighting. With this, unless they voluntarily revealed their strength, their enemies would never be able to figure out their level of strength. This was truly a powerful advantage to have in the cultivation world. Moreover, if these elders were to ask themselves, if they had such a secret technique, would they be willing to teach it to their disciples? No. At the very least, they would have to set many tests for their disciples to pass and gain their trust before considering whether to teach them the technique or not. Did Yi Xian not value this secret technique, or did he trust these two girls that much? Yu and Li Qinyan did not know what the elders were thinking, but even if they knew, they would only smile. Was this secret technique all that great? Their teacher had taught them far more than this. Moreover, every single thing he taught or gave them was extremely precious. How could these elders imagine such a thing? Their teacher's kindness would forever be hidden in their hearts. Moreover, Yu and Li Qinyan knew very well that even if they spent their entire lives trying, they probably would not be able to repay their teacher's kindness. Time passed slowly. Very quickly, the competition between the three great sects reached a crucial stage. Moreover, each and every match that Yu and Li Qinyan partook in made the audience feel more and more shocked. Their eyes seemed to have been permanently widened in shock. No matter what kind of opponent they met, they were all defeated with a single blow. 6th level of the True Essence Realm, 1 sword strike. 7th level of the True Essence Realm, 1 sword strike. Even the eldest disciple of the Huoya sect, an expert who had reached the 10th level of the true essence realm, was also instantly defeated by Yu's single sword strike. When everyone saw this scene unfold, their eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. What did it mean to be able to defeat a 10th level true essence realm expert with one sword strike? It meant that Yu's strength had already reached the purple spirit realm. Were you sure that she was only at the 6th level of the true essence realm before? Could a 6th level true essence realm cultivator do this? All of a sudden, many cultivators had strange expressions on their faces. At this moment, the competition had reached the top semi-finals. Li Qinyan was up against the eldest disciple of the Shinshan sect. Boom! The eldest disciple of the Shinshan sect cast a meaningful gaze at Li Qinyan, and his purple spirit realm aura revealed itself. Boom! Li Qinyan also did not choose to continue hiding her cultivation. The long sword in her hand vibrated, and the terrifying power of her 2nd level purple spirit realm cultivation swept out. In addition, the dual spirit physique in Li Qinyan's body also exploded with power. One of her eyes was fiery red, and the other one was a lively green. Purple spirit realm. And it's the 2nd level of the purple spirit realm too. When the first elder of the Shinshan sect saw this scene, he stood up with a face full of shock, and his eyes were transfixed on Li Qinyan. When the others saw this, they were also beside themselves in shock and disbelief. The elders of the Shinshan sect were dumbfounded, and so were the elders of the Huoya sect. The sect leader of the Qingyun sect and the other elders' mouths were wide open, and they were petrified. Purple Spirit Realm. The 2nd level of the Purple Spirit Realm. At the age of 18. How could this be? Wasn't she supposed to be at the 9th level of the True Essence Realm? Chen Xiaofeng's expression changed drastically. He stood on the spot as if he had been struck by lightning. When the eldest disciple of the Shinshan sect saw this, his expression also changed drastically. Didn't the information say that this woman was only at the 9th level of the True Essence Realm? What was with her current 2nd level Purple Spirit Realm cultivation? She had broken through to the Purple Spirit Realm at the age of 17. When had it become so easy to reach the Purple Spirit Realm? Back then, I had to use all of my strength to barely break through to the Purple Spirit Realm. Why was there such a huge difference between us? Although his heart was filled with shock, the purple spiritual power in his body still swept out. The reason for this was none other than that the fight had already begun. The storage ring in his hand flashed with light, and an incomparably sharp saber suddenly appeared in his hand. Faced with a powerful 2nd level Purple Spirit Realm cultivator, he had to go all out if he hoped to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. Swoosh! The eldest disciple of the Shinshan sect was as fast as lightning. His sharp saber was suffused with a terrifying purple spiritual power. The purple spirit realm aura that erupted from him made everyone's heart tremble. Was this the true strength of a purple spirit realm cultivator? This person probably had not even used 1/10 of his strength when he defeated Chen Xiaofeng earlier. Chapter 93. The arrival of the Xianin sect leader. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 93. The arrival of the Xianin sect leader. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. However, moments later, the shocked expressions on everyone's faces froze. Boom! When the sharp saber shone brightly, the fiery red color in Li Qinyan's right eye, and the lively green color in her left eye, suddenly switched places. She waved the long sword in her hand slightly. The expression on the face of the eldest disciple of the Shinshan sect changed drastically, as if he had been struck by lightning. Cracks appeared on the saber in his hand, and he was sent flying like a cannonball toward the defensive array formation. Just like Chen Xiaofeng, the Shinshan sect's eldest disciple's body crashed into the stage, creating a deep pit. Pooh! The Shinshan sect's eldest disciple tried to climb up with great difficulty, but he felt an extremely violent force wreaking havoc in his body. He could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Oh my God. She actually beat her with one sword strike. No matter how terrifying a second-level Purple Spirit Realm expert is, she shouldn't be able to defeat a first-level Purple Spirit Realm expert in one strike, right? Could it be that Senior Sister Lee's strength has exceeded the second level of the Purple Spirit Realm? Everyone looked at her with shock-filled gazes. From the beginning to the end, Li Qinyan had remained motionless, except for that one sword strike. It was obvious that she had not used her full strength at all. A monster. She was a monster comparable to Yi Xian. This battle has been won by Li Qinyan from the Qinyan sect. After the host announced the victor, everyone came back to their senses. The arena erupted with screams and shouts. Countless fans shouted Li Qinyan's name with flushed faces. We won. Senior Sister Li Qinyan was too cool. She actually defeated that arrogant guy in an instant. However, when everyone's excitement reached its peak, a cold voice suddenly rang out. Hee, your Qinyan sect is quite lively. Although the voice was not loud, everyone heard those words very clearly. Immediately, the deafening cheers suddenly disappeared. Many cultivators revealed puzzled expressions. However, the expressions of the sect leader and the various elders in the audience changed drastically. Who is it? May I know which honored personage has descended upon our Qinyan sect? Wan Shanhai's expression changed drastically as he stood up. His forehead was quietly dripping with sweat. The young disciples might not have realized the danger, but the moment the voice rang out, he felt an inexplicable sense of fear in his heart. It was obvious that the owner of the voice was extremely strong, and greatly surpassed him. The competition between the three great sects is indeed quite lively. As soon as he finished speaking, an illusory figure suddenly appeared in the air. That illusory figure appeared above Qinyan Mountain in an instant. He was a middle-aged man wearing a splendid golden-black robe. It's you. Wan Shanhai's expression turned gloomy when he saw this person, and he clenched his fists tightly. He would recognize this person even if he turned into ashes. It was the sect leader of the Xianin sect, Ming Shui. He was a top-tier sword cultivator in the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm. Why did this guy come to the Qinyan sect? Moreover, what Wan Shanhai feared the most was not Ming Shui. It was the Xianin sect's patriarch, Ming He. Although Ming Shui had come, he could still use the Mountain Guardian Array formation to fight against him. But if the patriarch who had been in secluded cultivation appeared, it meant that he had broken through to the peak of the Golden Core realm and was invincible within the Core formation realm. Wan Shanhai's expression turned grave, and the elders of the Qinyan sect also became vigilant when they saw this. The spiritual power in their dantian gushed out endlessly as they prepared for battle. However, they did not act rashly. After all, the other party was a top-tier sword cultivator in the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm, a terrifying existence who could crush them. The elders of the Huoya and Shinshan sects were also shocked by this sudden turn of events. They were unsure as to why the sect leader of the Xianin sect had shown up here at Qinyan Mountain, and what the other party's intentions were. However, whether it was them or Wan Shanhai, they all had an ominous premonition in their hearts. The sudden arrival of a top-tier sword cultivator in the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm meant that something big was about to go down. Moreover, the other party was already among the strongest cultivators in the Great Qian dynasty. Aside from peak Core formation realm cultivators, no one else could suppress him. Ming Shui, what is the purpose of your visit here? Wan Shanhai stared at Ming Shui with a serious expression. Although the opponent was strong enough to kill him, they were in the territory of the Qinyan sect. He would not be afraid of an advanced stage Golden Core realm expert on his home ground. Most importantly, the two sects were not on good terms with each other, especially after the incident with Yi Xian. It could be said that they could even be regarded as enemies. However, Wan Shanhai was very clear in his heart that the strength of the Xianin sect was too terrifying. Even if he wanted to take revenge, he might not have the chance. However, the sect leader and various elders of the Qinyan sect were united in spirit. If Yi Xian had really fallen at the hands of the Xianin sect previously, even if they were unable to avenge Yi Xian, they would definitely have made the Xianin sect pay a heavy price. However, Yi Xian was lucky enough to survive, and his strength had improved by leaps and bounds. It was also because of this that Wan Shanhai gave up on the idea of targeting the Xianin sect. However, he did not expect that, despite not targeting them, they had come to look for trouble with him instead. Was it also because of Yi Xian? At the thought of this, Wan Shanhai's facial expression changed. You don't have to be so nervous. I just want to watch the competition between your three sections. Ming Shui stood in the air with a smile on his lips. Those who did not know the actual context would think that he and Wan Shanhai were good friends who had known each other for many years. However, Wan Shanhai did not relax because of this. A jade token in his storage space was quietly withdrawn. As long as the other party made a move, he would immediately crush it. At that time, the Qinyan sect's Mountain Guardian Array formation would be instantly activated. Moreover, the Mountain Guardian Array formation was divided into 2 layers. He could use the jade token in his hand to instantly activate the first layer of the array formation. In order to activate the second layer of the array, he would require the assistance of many cultivators of the Qinyan sect to form an array formation. By doing this, he would be able to completely activate the core of the array formation. With his current strength, he was simply unable to resist an advanced stage Golden Core Realm expert. To put it bluntly, even if all the experts present joined hands, they would still be unable to resist the opponent. If Ming Shui had only been an early stage Golden Core Realm expert, then perhaps everyone still had a sliver of hope. However, the opponent had reached the advanced stage of the Golden Core Realm. Only by activating the Mountain Guardian Array formation could they resist the opponent. Right at this moment, Ming Shui was looking down at Wan Shanhai and the various elders with a smile. Seeing his glance, everyone could not help but tense up. The atmosphere around Qinyan Mountain had become extremely solemn, and the expressions of many cultivators had turned serious. What kind of existence was this person who could casually suppress the sect leader and the various elders? Chapter 94. Crisis. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 94. Crisis. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Ming Shui stood in mid-air, looking around the crowd as if he was looking for something. His expression was calm at first, but after a moment, he frowned slightly. Where was Yi Xian? Why did he not see Yi Xian here? The Xianin sect had mobilized the sect leader, 2 vice-sect leaders and 13 elders, in addition to the patriarch. In total, 17 core formation realm cultivators had come to Qinyan Mountain. The reason why Ming Shui had appeared was to determine Yi Xian's location. This way, he could kill him instantly and prevent him from exposing the secret of the Xuanin sect collection of qi and blood essence. However, his spiritual sense had scoured all of the Qinyan sect members present, yet he had not found Yi Xian. This meant that there were 2 possibilities. First, Yi Xian was not on Qinyan Mountain at the moment. Second, Yi Xian was on Qinyan Mountain, but had used an array formation to conceal his aura and presence. It was very likely that the other party was in secluded cultivation. If they could not determine Yi Xian's location, they would be able to kill him quickly. Wan Shanhai and the other elders looked at Ming Shui, whose expression was gradually turning colder and colder. Their bodies could not help but tense up. What was this guy trying to do? Where is Yi Xian? After Ming Shui failed to obtain the result he wanted, he turned his gaze to Wan Shanhai, and a cold gleam flashed across his eyes. Wan Shanhai and the other elders' faces changed greatly when they heard his question. As expected, this guy had come to the Qinyan sect because of Yi Xian. The damn Xianin sect was still unwilling to let Yi Xian go. Many thoughts flashed through Wan Shanhai's mind. No matter what, the Xianin sect must have somehow confirmed that Yi Xian was still alive. Previously, their elders had failed to besiege Yi Xian. After finding out that Yi Xian was still alive, they were probably afraid of Yi Xian's talent and feared that Yi Xian would take revenge in the future. This was why they had come to the Qinyan sect. They wanted to eradicate him. Elder Yi is temporarily training outside. He is not in the Qinyan sect. Wan Shanhai said calmly. He wanted to force them to hand over Yi Xian. Impossible. Putting aside the fact that he and the elders had practically watched Yi Xian grow up, simply based on the fact that Yi Xian was monstrously talented, the Qinyan sect would definitely not hand him over. This guy was the living signboard of the Qinyan sect. Moreover, if nothing unexpected happened, he would definitely be able to reach the Golden Core realm in the future. As long as Yi Xian could reach the Golden Core realm, they would no longer have to be afraid no matter how powerful the Xianin sect was. Moreover, the Qinyan sect still had the Mountain Guardian Array formation. They did not need to fear cultivators in the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm. Humph. You shouldn't lie to me. Ming Shui squinted his eyes slightly as he looked at the jade token in Wan Shanhai's hand. Although his aura is untraceable, he must be in the Qinyan sect. If you let me thoroughly search the Qinyan sect, then I'll believe that you are not lying. Why should we agree to your request? Before Wan Shanhai could reply, Lin Qing, who was not far away, could no longer hold it. She naturally knew that the jade token to activate the Mountain Guardian Array formation was in Wan Shanhai's hands. Therefore, although she was extremely nervous while facing a top-tier powerhouse at the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm, she was not afraid. The most important thing was that, through Huang Ling and Xue Min's stories, she already had her guesses regarding Yi Xian's current cultivation. Of course, those were just her guesses. She was also unaware of Yi Xian's exact cultivation level. Even if Yi Xian had really reached the Golden Core realm, he might not be able to resolve the current crisis that the Qinyan sect was facing. After all, Ming Shui was an advanced stage Golden Core realm cultivator. Why? Seeing this, Ming Shui glanced at Lin Qing coldly. Yi Xian killed the personal disciples of an elder of the Xianin sect. Shouldn't I pursue this matter? As soon as he finished speaking, everyone's expressions changed. So Yi Xian had killed the personal disciples of an elder of the Xianin sect. It was no wonder that Ming Shui had come to the Qinyan sect then. This guy was too bold. He even dared to kill the personal disciples of an elder of the Xianin sect. Even if he wanted to take revenge on the Xianin sect, he should not have done it so obviously. He was too impulsive. However, was Yi Xian not seriously injured and currently in secluded cultivation? How could he kill the personal disciples of the elder of the Xianin sect? The elders of the Huoye and Shinshan sects squinted their eyes. They were uncertain as to whether or not Ming Shui was speaking the truth. If it was really Yi Xian's doing, they could also understand his appearance here. Was it really Elder Yi Xian's doing? What should we do? Many cultivators of the Qinyan sect were worried about the situation. They did not know that Yi Xian had once been besieged by all of the Xianin sect's elders. Therefore, after learning that Yi Xian had killed the personal disciples of an elder of the Xianin sect, their hearts were full of confusion and worry. If he had killed ordinary outer sect disciples, there would be no need for such a hu-ha. However, the ones who had died were the personal disciples of an elder of the Xianin sect. Killing them was almost equivalent to declaring war on the Xianin sect. Huang Ling and Xue Min, who were in the crowd, revealed complicated expressions when they saw what was happening. They had never expected the Xianin sect to find out about this matter. If this was the case, the two sects would not be able to find a peaceful resolution to this matter. Yi Xian had killed Duan Wujie in order to save them, so they were both feeling extremely guilty at this moment. However, they were too weak, and they were not qualified to face the Xianin sect directly. Seeing this, Yu tightened her grip on the longsword in her hand. They had come in the end. Could her teacher deal with such a powerful opponent? She was not confident. Although she knew that her teacher was very strong, she was not clear about his exact cultivation level, let alone whether he could resist the power of an advanced stage Golden Core Realm expert. Still, no matter what, she would choose to live and die by her teacher's side. If there was really no way out, she would also choose to go to the netherworld with her teacher without hesitation. She would never abandon her teacher in this life. Ever since she became her teacher's disciple, ever since her teacher traveled thousands of miles to avenge her blood feud, her life had already belonged to her teacher. Li Qingyan's thoughts were the same. Although she had not personally experienced the incidents between Duan Wujie and Duan Wui, you had already told her about the past. When her teacher had helped her to awaken the dual spirit physique, she had sensed the strength of Yi Xian. Her teacher's power was like an abyss, deep and unfathomable. Unfortunately, her feelings were just feelings. She did not know exactly how strong Yi Xian was. Still, no matter what, were it not for her teacher's appearance, she would have long been sacrificed for the survival of her family, or perhaps she would have become Chen Ping's plaything. Her teacher's kindness was a debt she planned to spend her whole life repaying. Even if she had to sacrifice her own life to repay it, she would not hesitate. The two of them had only joined the Qingyun sect for a short period of time, so they did not know about the Mountain Guardian array. So what though? They had no intention of retreating. As long as they could stay by their teacher's side, death was an acceptable cost. Chapter 95. Yi Xian, are you still going to? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 95. Yi Xian, are you still going to hide? Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, your words mean nothing. Do you have any evidence? Wan Shanhai narrowed his eyes and looked at Ming Shui. Ridiculous. I am the sect leader of the Xianin sect. Do you think that I will accuse someone unjustly? Seeing this, Ming Shui revealed a sneer while his hands were behind his back. Come out. Whoosh. Whoosh. Two streams of light flashed past, and Li Wuji and Gu De suddenly made their appearance. They were each carrying a true essence realm cultivator from the Qingyun sect. Seeing this, the faces of the elders changed. Could it be that Ming Shui was not the only one from the Xianin sect who had come today? Tell me what you know. Is Yi Xian the murderer who killed my beloved disciples, Duan Wujie and Duan Wui? They had casually picked up the two true essence realm cultivators. Yes, yes, yes. I saw Elder Yi Xian kill the two of them with my own eyes. I swear on my life that it was indeed Elder Yi Xian's doing. Feeling the terrifying power that radiated from Li Wuji's fingertips, the two of them could not help but tremble. It's really ridiculous. Do you think that you can convict an elder of my sect with just a one-sided statement? As for the truth, you'd better wait for Elder Yi Xian to return. He will respond to your accusations. Besides, I've never seen those two men in my Qingyun sect. Wan Shanhai said with a sneer. It seems that you guys are not going to take the easy way out. Seeing this, Ming Shui's eyes turned cold. This group of stubborn old men. It seemed that killing all of you was the only way to make you understand the terror of the Xianin sect. However, he was still a little worried. He himself could not detect Yi Xian's whereabouts, and the patriarch had not appeared. Could it be that even the patriarch could not detect Yi Xian? Could it be that what Wan Shanhai said was true, and that Yi Xian was really training in the outside world? Or was the secret array formation he had constructed too high level? In their plan, they had to confirm Yi Xian's location as soon as possible, then divert Wan Shanhai's attention. Before the other party could activate the Mountain Guardian array formation, they would kill Yi Xian as fast as they could, preferably instantly. As long as they were fast enough, Yi Xian would not have time to react before he died. At that time, no one would know that the Xianin sect had been collecting qi and blood essence. This was the safest way. However, they were unable to determine Yi Xian's location, so it was obvious that their plan had failed. Their only choice was to act now. After the Mountain Guardian Array formation was activated by Wan Shanhai, Yi Xian would not continue hiding like a mouse, would he? However, if they did things this way, Yi Xian would definitely choose to expose the fact that the Xianin sect was collecting the qi and blood essences of commoners by massacring villages. Still, so what? With the patriarch around, no one would survive today. Even the great Qian royal family could no longer do anything to them. Since the patriarch had already reached the peak of the core formation realm, there was no need for them to fear the great Qian royal family at all. They could even continue to carry out the collection of qi and blood essence openly. As long as the patriarch advanced to the unity realm, he would become the absolute ruler of the great Qian dynasty. Shua. Ming Xue's figure suddenly disappeared, and a terrifying power suddenly filled the world. At the same time, Wan Shanhai quickly crushed the jade token in his hand. Moments later, Qinyan Mountain began to tremble, and countless mountain peaks emitted resplendent pillars of light and energy, which then condensed into an enormous energy barrier that completely enveloped the Qinyan sect. Humph! Seeing this, Ming Xue snorted coldly. Although he had moved extremely quickly, the Mountain Guardian Array formation had still been successfully activated. I would like to see for myself just how hard this turtle shell of yours is. As soon as his words were spoken, his surging golden core power suddenly swept out. His fist emitted bright and dazzling golden light, and it was filled with a terrifyingly destructive force. Even though the Mountain Guardian Array formation was standing between them and him, everyone's bodies could not help but tremble. If they were to face this force directly, it was likely that they would be turned into ashes in an instant. Bang! They saw the outline of Ming Xue's fist strike. That incomparably powerful fist suddenly smashed onto the Mountain Guardian Array formation. Rumble! The Mountain Guardian Array formation trembled. The barrier rippled layer by layer. However, the great mountain peaks of the Qinyan sect continued to pour out energy. Ming Xue's attack did not shake the foundation of the Mountain Guardian Array formation. Even so, the power of an advanced stage Golden Core Realm expert was still incomparably terrifying. The aftermath of the impact instantly flattened some of the mountain peaks outside the Qinyan sect, and the surrounding forest instantly turned into a barren wasteland. Seeing this, the disciples of the various sects turned pale. They gulped as they tried their best to restrain the fear and shock they were feeling inside. Was this the power of the sect leader of the Xianin sect? With just one punch, the terrifying aftermath of the attack had destroyed 3 mountain peaks. A thought emerged in their minds at the same time. How terrifying! Previously, they had only heard about the terror of Golden Core Realm cultivators on paper and by word of mouth. Now that they were witnessing it with their own eyes, they knew that the strength of the other party could no longer be described with words. With just one punch, their bodies and souls would probably be torn apart. It was not only the disciples who were shocked, even those core formation realm elders also had pale expressions on their faces. Although they were core formation realm cultivators as well, the Shudan realm and Golden Core realm were not on the same level at all. The gap between the two was like the gap between heaven and earth. It was insurmountable. They knew very well that even if they worked together, they would not be a match for Ming Xue. Wan Shanhai was a top-tier powerhouse at the middle stage of the true core realm. Thanks to Yi Xian's display of sword intent, he had even comprehended his own sword intent. His own strength was already comparable to an advanced realm true core realm cultivator. Even so, faced with a super expert at the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm, there was only despair on their faces. Yi Xian. Are you still planning to hide? After throwing that punch, the Ming Xue gave up on attacking. The power of the Mountain Guardian formation array was too powerful, and he alone was unable to break it. Do you really think that I'll leave just because I can't break this shield? Ming Shui looked around the entire Qinyan clan, but he still could not find any trace of Yi Xian. Could it be that Yi Xian had really left the Qinyan sect? Thinking this, Ming Shui could not help but frown. If that was the case, things would be troublesome. Chapter 96. Survival Instinct. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 96. Survival Instinct. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Lingjiu, Peak, Cultivation Room. Yi Xian had already reached the most critical stage of the tempering process. In fact, he had already noticed Ming Shui's arrival at the Qinyan sect a long time ago. However, because the tempering of his qi and blood essence had reached the most critical juncture, he did not choose to show himself. Although the remaining gaps were extremely small, the process remained difficult. Only after his qi and blood power had been tempered 1,000 times could he form the perfect blood-red strand to fill the gaps. At that time, he would be able to reach the unity realm. If he gave up halfway, then the blood-red strand that he had spent a lot of effort to condense would collapse, and he would then have to spend several days condensing it again. It was precisely because of this that Yi Xian chose not to show himself. Moreover, as an elder of the Qinyan sect, he naturally knew that the sect was protected by the Mountain Guardian Array formation. Even if Ming Shui's strength had reached the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm, he would still be unable to penetrate the Mountain Guardian Array formation. Moreover, it would only take the time for one incense stick to burn before he could completely surpass the core formation realm and advance to the unity realm. Yi Xian was also quite surprised by Ming Shui's arrival. He was supposed to be the one with a score to settle with him, but they had come looking for him first. It seemed that they were desperate to kill him in case he leaked news of their crimes. In that case, he would pick a proper gravestone for them when he buried them on Qinyan Mountain. After killing Ming Shui and the others, he would bathe the Xianin sect in blood. As the second-ranked top sect in the Great Xian dynasty, the sect must have collected a large number of heavenly and earthly treasures in its treasury over the years. This was a good opportunity to plunder them. Perhaps the amount might even fill up his storage ring completely. Why could Ming Shui not sense Yi Xian's aura? In fact, it was not that Yi Xian had set up some secret array, but he had used the nihility technique. Compared to the aura concealment technique, the nihility technique was undoubtedly more powerful. Not only could it perfectly hide a cultivator's aura, but it could also decrease the flow of time around the cultivator. If he chose to use the nihility technique while he was in secluded cultivation, unless the other party's strength was much greater than his, they would not be able to sense his aura. I didn't expect them to bring a bunch of people over. Yi Xian suddenly narrowed his eyes slightly and inwardly sneered. After seeing these people, he understood the intentions of the Xianin sect. It seemed that these people were not just here to kill him, but also wanted to destroy the entire Qinyan sect. It was likely that they would not even spare cultivators of the Huoya and Shinshan sects who had come for the competition this time. In that case, their patriarch should be here as well, right? That old man must want to completely conceal the fact that the Xianin sect was collecting qi and blood essence. By destroying the Qinyan sect, not only would he be tying up loose ends, but he would also be able to obtain another large sum of qi and blood essence. That old man has a good plan. He wants to kill two birds with one stone. Thinking this, Yi Xian's gaze suddenly turned cold, and killing intent flashed across his eyes. Yi Xian, if you really want to hide underneath this turtle shell, then I will break it and drag you out. Patriarch, please make your move. Ming Shui suddenly bowed respectfully in a certain direction. Patriarch. Seeing this, the expressions on the faces of the crowd changed drastically, and their pupils constricted abruptly. Was he the ancestor of the Xianin sect? How old was the patriarch for Ming Shui to be calling him as such? Also, how terrifying was his strength? The crowd felt uneasy. Whoosh! All of a sudden, a gentle breeze blew past. Before everyone could react, an old man suddenly appeared in their field of vision. He may have had white hair, but his body seemed to be filled with astonishing power. He flew through the air and slowly moved forward, his body emanating out surging chi and blood essence. Everyone felt an invisible force suddenly descend, almost strangling their necks, making it much more difficult for them to breathe. Yi Xian, you killed the personal disciples of my sect. You deserve to die. The Qinyan sect is aiding the wicked. You deserve to be exterminated. The old man stood in mid-air, his black robe fluttering in the wind. His words were indifferent, but they were filled with unquestionable power. He seemed to be one with heaven and earth. It felt like he could destroy everything with a single move. He spoke those words as if he was passing judgment on behalf of the heavens. If he wanted the Qinyan sect to be destroyed, then the Qinyan sect would no longer exist. If he wanted Yi Xian to die, then Yi Xian would definitely not be able to survive. In an instant, the entire mountain had turned silent. Everyone could not stop trembling. This is the peak of the core formation realm. Wan Shanhai's teeth chattered crazily as he spat out those few words with difficulty. The appearance of the Ming Shui had made him very nervous, but the appearance of this old man had engulfed him in despair. It was true that cultivators in the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm could not break through the Mountain Guardian Array formation, but it was a completely different story for a Peak Core formation realm cultivator. The expressions on the faces of the elders of the Huoya and Shinshan sects changed drastically as well. The patriarch of the Xianin sect was still alive, and had reached the peak of the core formation realm. As soon as those words were spoken, more than a dozen experts flew through the sky and surrounded Qinyan Mountain, each one exuding the aura of a core formation realm expert. They stood guard over every corner of the mountain. It was obvious that they did not want to let anyone go. At that moment, everyone trembled in despair. The Xianin sect had mobilized in full force. They wanted to destroy the Qinyan sect. The elders of the Huoya and Shinshan sect were also in despair. The other party did not only want to destroy the Qinyan sect, but they might also perish alongside them. Sect leader Ming, we have nothing to do with Yi Xian. Can your sect let us go? The first elder of the Shinshan sect gritted his teeth and asked. Although the great elder of the Huoya sect did not speak up, his eyes conveyed the same question. Faced with a super powerhouse who had reached the peak of the core formation realm, they had lost all hope. Only by distancing themselves from the Qinyan sect and Yi Xian would they have a chance at survival. No matter what, this was all because Yi Xian had killed the personal disciples of the elder of the Xianin sect, causing the other party to seek revenge. Although the three great sects were friendly with each other, it was not to the point where they could rely on each other in life or death situations. Thus, in order to survive, they could only choose to abandon the Qinyan sect. Hearing this, Wan Shanhai looked at the elders of the Huoya and Shinshan sects with disappointment. However, he did not say anything. After all, this was their choice. Lin Qing and the other elders also remained silent. The disciples of the Huoya and Shinshan sects ignored the glances they received from the disciples of the Qinyan sect. They did not want to die here. Was it wrong to admit defeat? Besides, they had nothing to do with Yi Xian. Why should they sacrifice their lives for him? However, when they thought about their original relationship with the Qinyan sect, they still felt a little shame. You want to leave? That depends on the patriarch's mood. Seeing this, Ming Shui smiled faintly. Chapter 97. Sorry I'm late. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 97. Sorry I'm late. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Hearing this, the expressions of the people from the Huoya and Shinshan sects changed drastically, and an ominous premonition arose in their hearts. Could it be that the Xianin sect was not going to spare anyone? Moments later, terrifying power erupted from the patriarch's body and transformed into a huge palm that smashed down toward the Mountain Guardian Array formation. Damn it! This group of people from the Xianin sect had gone crazy. Seeing this, those from the Huiya and Shinshan sects were filled with despair. The Xianin sect was not going to let them go. The patriarch had given them his reply in the form of an attack. Could it be that this old man intended to destroy the Huiya and Shinshan sects after destroying the Qinyan sect? Their hearts were filled with despair and unwillingness. Right at this moment, that huge palm flew toward the Mountain Guardian Array formation and slammed into it. Boom! The two forces collided, and the shockwaves from the impact spread out into the surroundings. In an instant, many cultivators of the Qinyan sect felt dizzy, and those with lower cultivation levels were even injured. Only cultivators who had reached the true essence realm could barely resist these shockwaves. Moreover, these shockwaves had been weakened by the Mountain Guardian Array formation. If they had faced the shockwaves head-on, they would have been reduced to a pile of ashes. The expressions of the elders of the Qinyan sect changed drastically after hearing a cracking sound. The Mountain Guardian Array formation, which had been emitting brilliant light, suddenly dimmed. At the same time, cracks appeared on the barrier. However, the huge palm slowly dissipated as well. The shockwaves that had swept over Wan Shanhai and the others had been weakened by the Mountain Guardian Array formation, but the people of the Xianin sect were not so lucky. The terrifying shockwaves were wild and violent as they ravaged the area outside Qinyan Mountain. Seeing this, the elders of the Xianin sect retreated rapidly. They channeled their spiritual power to form a solidified energy barrier to protect them. The true essence realm cultivators that Li Wuji and Guda had caught earlier were discarded mercilessly by them. The two did not even have time to scream before they were turned into ashes. The Mountain Guardian Array formation was full of cracks after taking just one attack. It might not be able to take another hit. At this moment, Minghe raised his hand with an indifferent expression. Once again, an enormous palm was condensed from his spiritual power. Disciples of the Qinyan sect, gather. At this moment, Wan Shanhai let out an angry roar. The spiritual power in his body suddenly surged forth. He waved his hand, and a long sword that was emitting a brilliant light and sword intent appeared in his hand. Sect leader. We are willing to live and die with the Qinyan sect. As soon as he finished speaking, countless cultivators of the Qinyan sect transformed into streams of light and gathered around Wan Shanhai. Tens of thousands of cultivators roared, and their voices filled the sky, causing the earth to tremble. Infuse your spiritual power into the array formation with me and protect the Qinyan sect. Wan Shanhai took a step forward, holding the long sword in his hand as he hovered in the air. The elders quickly released their spiritual power as well. Any cultivator who joined the Qinyan sect for more than half a year would be taught how to infuse their spiritual power into the Mountain Guardian Array formation. Of course, it was impossible for a single person to power the array formation with their strength alone. Instead, they had to gather everyone's spiritual power and transform it into qi and blood essence to activate the second layer of the Mountain Guardian Array formation. 20,000 cultivators sat cross-legged. The spiritual power, qi and blood essence in their bodies surged forth and slowly flowed into the Mountain Guardian Array formation. Moments later, the Mountain Guardian Array formation that was originally filled with cracks suddenly emitted resplendent blood-red light. A blood-red barrier suddenly appeared underneath the spider-silk-like cracks. A useless struggle. Seeing this, Minghe revealed a cold smile. The huge palm suddenly released resplendent light as it flew through the air and ruthlessly smashed toward the Mountain Guardian Array formation. Bang! Crack! When the huge palm slammed into the Mountain Guardian Array formation, the first layer of the barrier, which was already filled with cracks, shattered. Bang! The huge palm continued on, seeking to use its destructive might to break through the second blood-colored energy barrier. In an instant, under the terrifying impact of the colliding forces, the blood-colored energy barrier distorted. The expressions of the 20,000 Qingyun sect cultivators changed, and their originally rosy faces turned extremely pale. Suddenly, cracks appeared on the huge palm. When everyone saw this scene, their eyes were filled with joy. Could it really be blocked? However, moments later, the cracked huge palm suddenly shattered, turning into countless sharp blades of light instantly pierced through the blood-colored energy barrier. Pooh! The cultivators of the Qingyun sect all spat out fresh blood, and the aura around their bodies became erratic. Fortunately, the backlash of the array formation shattering was dispersed among the sect leader, the various elders, and the 20,000 Qingyun sect cultivators. Otherwise, they would not have been able to resist this backlash at all. Even so, many cultivators were still heavily injured. However, the blades of light formed by the shattered giant palm did not disappear. They were once again filled with destructive power as they whistled toward the crowd. At this moment, countless cultivators had despair written all over their faces. One Shanhai wiped the blood from the corners of his mouth, his eyes were filled with madness. He had another method to resist this power. He could self-destruct the true core in his body. In addition to the sword intent that he had comprehended recently, there might still be a chance of blocking this attack. However, just as the power in his dantian gradually turned violent, a gentle force suddenly descended out of nowhere and slowly stabilized his true core. At the same time, incomparably resplendent sword qi suddenly soared into the sky from the direction of the Lingjiu peak. In the blink of an eye, it traversed through space and tore apart those blades of light with crushing force. This soaring sword qi swept across the sky like a half-moon arc. In an instant, countless clouds dissipated. "Sorry, I'm late." A gentle voice suddenly rang out. However, those words contained a monstrous killing intent. A tall figure suddenly appeared in the distance after those words were spoken. He took a step forward and traversed space to arrive in the air above Qingyun Mountain. He stood in the sky. His snow-white robe fluttered in the wind. His incomparably handsome face was stern. His starry eyes were filled with monstrous killing intent. Chapter 98. The Greedy Li Wuji. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 98. The Greedy Li Wuji. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Yi Xian. Li Wuji was the first to recognize Yi Xian. His gaze seemed to be filled with monstrous killing intent. However, if one observed carefully, one would discover that there was a hint of greed in his eyes. From Li Wuji's perspective, Yi Xian was able to survive the 5 poisons powder because he had obtained the treasures of a Unity Realm expert. "He, you sure took your time." Seeing him finally appear, Ming Shui smiled. This guy was indeed hiding in the Qingyun sect, and probably only came out because there was nowhere to hide after the Patriarch shattered the Mountain Guardian array formation. However, his presence here would be useless anyway. Today, all of them would die. "Yi Xian, how did you?" Wan Shanhai's gaze fell on Yi Xian as he revealed a complicated expression. Although he did not hate Yi Xian, it was ultimately because of the latter that the Qingyun sect was experiencing such a calamity. "Yi Xian, hurry up and escape." Lin Qin cried out anxiously. If she had not guessed wrongly, Yi Xian must have reached the Golden Core realm. As long as the rest of them stopped the Xianin sect at all costs, Yi Xian had the best chance of escaping. With Yi Xian's talent, he might be able to reach the peak of the core formation realm in the future, or even the Unity realm, which no one had achieved in the Great Qian dynasty for hundreds of years. Then, he would avenge them. This guy was too impulsive. Why did he appear at such a critical moment? Teacher. Yu and Li Qingyan's eyes focused on their teacher's figure, and their eyes turned red. When the Mountain Guardian array formation had shattered, they had lost all hope. Although they did not regret it, their hearts were filled with sadness to not have been buried together with their teacher. Still, they hoped that Yi Xian would leave quickly. They had not expected their teacher to suddenly appear. Although their teacher was very strong, could he really face such a terrifying enemy? The other party had mobilized the power of their entire sect. In addition to the 13 core formation realm experts, they also had a peak core formation realm expert and 3 advanced stage golden core realm experts. Ming He stood in mid-air and stared at Yi Xian expressionlessly. This was Yi Xian, the strongest genius who had suppressed the great Qian dynasty. Although Yi Xian had used his sword qi to directly destroy the blades of light formed by his giant palm attack, he was not bothered. The remnant energy in the blades of light did not even constitute 1% of his strength. However, when he saw Yi Xian, the latter still piqued his interest. Although he had been in secluded cultivation for hundreds of years, he had still heard of Yi Xian's feats and achievements. Today, he finally saw him in person. What surprised him was that even though he had reached the peak of the core formation realm, he could not sense any aura fluctuations from Yi Xian's body. Moreover, the latter would only exhibit some energy fluctuations the moment he made a move. Even so, he could not sense Yi Xian's exact cultivation level. It was obvious that Yi Xian had mastered an extremely high-level secret technique. Moreover, with Yi Xian's talent, he was a rare super genius. However, for the sake of the Xianin sect, this guy could not be allowed to live. With his hands behind his back, Ming He said expressionlessly, "Kill him." He was too lazy to make a move personally. In the entire Qinyan sect, only the Mountain Guardian Array formation from before was worth his effort. Now that the Mountain Guardian Array formation had been shattered, Ming Shui and the rest of the Xianin sect were more than enough to destroy the Qinyan sect. Moreover, he could also take this opportunity to absorb all of the qi and blood essence from the slain cultivators here. Perhaps he might even condense another blood-red strand today. Li Wuji, who was not far away, displayed a hint of excitement after hearing Ming He's words. At the same time, Li Wuji signaled an old man beside him. The old man was called Gongsun Wuji. He was also one of Duan Wujia and Duan Wui's teachers. Gongsun Wuji had been in secluded cultivation earlier, so Li Wuji had handled the investigation of the murders himself. Now that the Xianin sect was going to annihilate the Qinyan sect, Gongsun Wuji naturally had to make an appearance. Moreover, the two of them were as close as brothers, so Li Wuji naturally told Gongsun Wuji about the possibility that Yi Xian might have obtained some treasures of an ancient Unity Realm expert. Since the patriarch was not bothered to make a move, then this opportunity would be theirs. Whoosh! Li Wuji and Gongsun Wuji looked at each other with greed-filled eyes. In an instant, Li Wuji's advanced stage Shudan realm aura swept out. He pulled out a chain that exuded a destructive blood-colored aura. This was Li Wuji's weapon, a high-grade spirit weapon. If one was entangled by the blood-colored power in the chain, even if one was a Shudan realm cultivator, the power of that person's dantian would be temporarily sealed. Yi Xian, hurry up and leave. Seeing this, Lin Qing clenched her teeth. She then rushed into the sky above Mount Qinyan. She had to create an opportunity for Yi Xian to escape. He could not die. Although her efforts might be for naught, Lin Qing still made a move without hesitation. She did not want this guy who gave her an inexplicable feeling to die just like that. It's just a mere Shudan realm cultivator. I can handle it. Yi Xian smiled and waved his hand slightly. A gentle power instantly enveloped Lin Qing. Seeing this, Lin Qing was startled. She was actually unable to break free from this power. My guess was indeed correct. This guy had already reached the Golden Core realm. It's time to settle my enmity with the Xianin sect. Yi Xian used his fingers to form sword qi and looked expressionlessly at Li Wuji, who was flying toward him. In the eyes of the disciples of the Qinyan sect, Li Wuji was as fast as lightning, making it impossible for anyone to dodge his charge. However, in Yi Xian's eyes, Li Wuji was as slow as a tortoise. Li Wuji and Gongsun Wuji had also been among the main group that besieged Yi Xian that day. It was precisely because of this that the two of them wanted to eliminate the root of the problem after learning that Yi Xian was still alive. You, Qingyan. Watch carefully. I will show you how to use these techniques. Yi Xian's gaze was indifferent as he stood in mid-air, but his gentle voice was transmitted to Yu and Li Qingyan. Hearing this, the two could not help but be shocked. It was obvious that their teacher wanted to use his battle with the elders of the Xianin sect to teach them. The distance between the two parties was less than 1,000 meters, which could be bridged in the blink of an eye. The chains in Li Wuji's hands were filled with blood and qi essence that soared to the sky, and was like a group of snakes trying to entangle Yi Xian. Seeing this, a faint smile appeared on the corners of Yi Xian's mouth. His index and middle fingers slowly came together, and then he gently slashed forward. Although it was only one move, it contained endless sword qi. Sword qi suddenly materialized out of nowhere, and swept toward Li Wuji like a hurricane. Chapter 99. One strike for one person. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 99. One strike for one person. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation Windstorm Sword Technique, Mid-Grade Black. Rank. In a top-tier sect, this was not considered a high-grade martial technique. However, the moment this sword qi hurricane appeared, everyone's pupils suddenly contracted. Clang clang clang. When the blood-colored chain landed on the sword qi hurricane, the qi and blood essence that filled the sky was instantly torn apart. Following that, cracks appeared on the chain, which continued to multiply. How is this possible? Seeing this, Li Wuji's expression changed. The spiritual power in his dantian gushed out to form a strong energy shield in front of him. However, everything was futile. Yi Xian's sword qi instantly pierced through the energy shield and Li Wuji. Was this really Yi Xian? Li Wuji's eyes were filled with disbelief, and his life force started to fade. Why is this guy so terrifying? His heart was filled with despair and fear. He had imagined many possibilities, but the possibility of him not being able to take even one of his opponent's moves was not one of them. Moreover, judging from his relaxed expression, this had just been a casual strike, and he had not even used his weapon. It was obvious that the difference in strength between the two of them was akin to the difference between heaven and earth. The light in Li Wuji's pupils finally dissipated, and his body smashed into the ground below. The surroundings fell silent. Li Wuji, the ninth elder of the Xianin sect, a top-tier expert in the advanced stage of the Shudan realm, had been killed by his opponent's finger. How is this possible? Gongsun Wuji, who was not far away, could not help but narrow his eyes when he saw what had happened. He was very clear about Yi Xian's strength. When he had been besieging the latter back then, they had easily overpowered him. It had only been 2 months since then, yet he had instantly killed Li Wuji, who was at the same level as Gongsun Wuji himself. How was this possible? How terrifyingly strong was this guy? Was he at the middle stage of the true core realm or the advanced stage of the true core realm? Gongsun Wuji did not know, but he knew that if he did not start running quickly, he would become a cold corpse. Whoosh! Gongsun Wuji immediately halted his advance, and then fled frantically in the direction of the patriarch. Ha! Since you've come, stay a while. Seeing him run off, a sneer hung on the corners of Yi Xian's mouth. Moments later, he slowly raised his fingers again and gently swiped in Gongsun Wuji's direction. Suddenly, a sword qi hurricane appeared again and rushed toward Gongsun Wuji like a violent storm. No, accompanied by an indignant roar, the sword qi hurricane engulfed Gongsun Wuji. Oh, right, you were here too. Suddenly, Yi Xian's gaze turned to Guda, who was in the crowd, and he waved his sleeve once again. In an instant, another sword qi hurricane appeared, sweeping toward Guda, this time, flickering with bolts of lightning. Windstorm slash, high. Grade black. Rank. Damn it. Seeing this, Gu Da's expression changed greatly. This terrifying power had firmly locked onto him. Li Wuji and Gongsun Wuji had been killed by Yi Xian easily. With his limited strength, there was no way he would do any better. Moreover, this attack was even more terrifying than the previous two. If it reached him, there might not even be ashes left to bury him. However, just as the sword chi hurricane was about to engulf Gu Da, a cold snort echoed across the sky. A dazzling stream of light flashed by, and Ming Xue, the sect leader of the Xianin sect, suddenly appeared in front of Gu Da. His eyes were icy cold, and his golden core power gushed out of his palm. He then struck the incoming sword chi hurricane. Boom! The two powerful forces collided with each other, and both the skies and the ground trembled. The shockwaves wreaked havoc on the surroundings. It was like a scene from an apocalyptic movie. Moments later, Ming Xue waved his sleeve again and destroyed the violent sword chi hurricane. It was only then that the turbulent surroundings gradually calmed down. Thank you for saving my life, sect leader. Gu Da looked at Yi Xian with fear on his face, and then bowed to Ming Xue gratefully. Ming Xue did not pay attention to him, but looked at Yi Xian with shock on his face. Golden Core Realm. The other party had casually attacked, but the power of that attack was comparable to that of a Golden Core Realm cultivator. If he had not reacted quickly enough, Gu Da would have died. This guy was only 20 years old, but he had already reached the Golden Core Realm. Was this not too unbelievable? Ming Xue's heart was full of shock. He had never imagined that Yi Xian would be a Golden Core Realm cultivator. Moreover, he did not even think that the other party had reached the true Core Realm. After all, no matter how monstrous Yi Xian was, he was only 20 years old. Once a cultivator reached the Core Formation Realm, the difficulty of breaking through each minor realm was extremely terrifying. However, reality had other ideas. Other than him and the two vice sect leaders, only the forefather could deal with Yi Xian's casual attack. Other than them, the other core formation elders would almost have certainly died. Wan Shanhai saw this scene unfold and was transfixed. He was completely stunned. He had been extremely curious about Yi Xian's true cultivation level, but unfortunately, his spiritual sense had not been able to sense anything at all. So it turned out that this guy's strength was so terrifying. Even he would only die if he had been on the receiving end of that sword chi hurricane. One had to know that although Wan Shanhai was only at the middle stage of the true core realm, with the support of his sword intent, his strength was already comparable to that of an advanced stage true core realm cultivator. Even so, he knew that the sword chi hurricane would kill him. Compared to Wan Shanhai, the elders of the Huoye and Shinshan sects were even more shocked. Was the person in front of them really the heavily injured Yi Xian who was supposed to be on the verge of death? Was this guy not only a middle stage Shudan realm cultivator? How did he kill Li Wuji and Gongsun Wuji, who were late stage Shudan realm cultivators, with just one strike? Unbelievably, the sect leader of the Xianin sect, Ming Xue, had to personally deal with the sword chi hurricane. Their hearts were filled with doubt, shock, and other complicated emotions. Was this guy really only 20 years old? How had he already reached the Golden Core Realm at such a young age? This was too terrifying. Chapter 100. Today, I shall give you an opportunity. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 100. Today, I shall give you an opportunity. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. At the same time, Ming He, who had been standing casually in mid-air just now, suddenly moved. Yi Xian. Ming He raised his eyelids slightly and slowly spat out two words. The hands behind his back loosened. Yi Xian actually killed Li Wuji and Gongsun Wuji in his presence. This was undoubtedly an affront to his dignity. He had no clue that Yi Xian was that powerful, so even he did not have time to react. Two elders had fallen. The sect had suffered a serious loss. You are only 20 years old, but have already reached the Golden Core realm. Young man, you are indeed a top-notch genius. In these 500 years I've lived, among the geniuses I've seen, you are ranked in the top 3. Ming He looked at Yi Xian expressionlessly, and his indifferent voice resounded across the sky. But your youth is also your fatal flaw. You are not strong enough. Although Golden Core realm cultivators are powerful, from my perspective, you're just a rather strong ant. As soon as he finished speaking, an incomparably terrifying pressure suddenly descended. Amidst this vast sea of pressure, even the ground could not stop trembling. This was the power of a peak core formation realm expert. When the crowd saw this, they were aghast. Their bodies could not stop trembling, and some of the weaker practitioners even directly knelt on the ground. Even the elders of the Xianin sect felt the pressure. However, their hearts were filled with joy. The Qingyun sect would have no chance of making a comeback. Wan Shanhai and other elders despaired. Weighed down by this terrible pressure, they simply could not even lift a finger to resist. Young man, you should be honored. Because you will die at the hands of a peak core formation realm powerhouse. As soon as he finished speaking, Ming He took a step forward and his figure suddenly disappeared. Ridiculous. At this moment, a cold laugh suddenly rang out, followed by the appearance of an endless and seemingly boundless power. In an instant, the terrifying pressure that was originally weighing down on everyone suddenly dissipated. Cultivators of the Qingyun sect, today, I, Yi Xian, will grant you an opportunity. As soon as he finished speaking, the God-slaying sword suddenly appeared in Yi Xian's hand. Strong gusts of wind suddenly blew past. Holding the God-slaying sword in his hand, Yi Xian stood in mid-air. His long black hair fluttered in the wind. He looked at Ming He calmly, as if he was a sword god who stood proudly above everything else in the world. When everyone saw this, they were shocked. Moments later, sword chi that was as vast as the ocean, and as boundless as the stars, soared into the sky while emitting an incomparably bright light. The sword chi was filled with a domineering power, which instantly crushed the pressure Ming He was exerting. Yi Xian, with one sword, suppressed the entire world. It was as if he was a sword god who looked down on the world. His body emitted an incredibly domineering aura. This scene was deeply engraved in the hearts of countless cultivators. Many years later, there was a legend passed down in the Qingyun sect that described the valor and greatness of a peerless expert who had used a single sword to shake the heavens and the earth, rescuing the sect from danger. The terrifying and tyrannical sword chi raged wildly, causing the whole world to tremble. This was Yi Xian's sword overlord physique. Everyone felt the terrifying pressure that was originally weighing down on their bodies suddenly disappear. Yi Xian's sword chi seemed to be unrivaled. At this moment, a resplendent stream of light flashed past, and Ming He's figure suddenly appeared not far from Yi Xian. Victory had been in his grasp, but his arrogant expression was now gone. What had replaced it was extreme fear. Peak of the core formation realm. Yi Xian was actually in the same realm as him. Ming He went completely mad. This felt even more ridiculous than if a Supreme Unity Realm expert had suddenly appeared in the Great Qian dynasty. Yi Xian was only 20 years old, but he had already reached the peak of the core formation realm. Was this guy really human? He had cultivated for hundreds of years, and massacred countless people to gather enough qi and blood essence, in order to reach the peak of the core formation realm. Although this was related to his damaged cultivation foundation, it was enough to show everyone just how difficult it was for cultivators to reach the peak of the core formation realm. How is this possible? Ming He's pupils suddenly constricted, his eyes bulged with disbelief. He, why shouldn't it be possible? Everything is possible when I'm involved. Yi Xian stood in mid-air, his body emitting a domineering sword chi that could seemingly tear even space apart. You are just a piece of trash who spent hundreds of years cultivating before breaking through to the peak of the core formation realm. Moreover, you are just a piece of trash who relied on slaughtering mortals to collect their chi and blood essence. Only then did you barely reach the requirements to advance to the peak of the core formation realm. Yi Xian's words were filled with a domineering aura, and every word was aimed at Ming He's heart. Ming He's expression immediately turned ugly. If I wanted to kill you, it would be as easy as squashing an ant. As soon as he finished speaking, he raised the God-slaying sword. He pointed the sharp tip of the sword pointed at Ming He, and then he enunciated the following words very clearly. Today, the Xianin sect will be destroyed. Arrogant brat. Hearing this, Ming He became furious. He reached out his hand, and a long black spear suddenly appeared. All Xianin sect cultivators, follow my lead and kill this kid. Ming He's body was filled with surging energy, and his voice resounded in the sky like thunder. Both of them were at the peak of the core formation realm, and it would be difficult to determine the victor within a short period of time. Therefore, Ming He wanted to utilize the combined power of the Xianin sect to kill Yi Xian. Underworld Blood and the elders of the mysterious dark sect had already been petrified on the spot when Yi Xian killed Li Wuji and Gongsun Wuji with lightning-like methods. To be able to resolve the pressure of the forefather so easily, the opponent's true realm instantly leaped out. Yi Xian, he had actually stepped into the completion of the core formation realm. For a moment it was as if they had been struck by lightning. Their eyes were filled with disbelief, and it was hard for them to accept this reality for a moment. It was not until the voice of the Nether River suddenly exploded in their minds that they came back to their senses. We will obey the orders of the forefather. In an instant, all the cultivation practitioners of the mysterious dark sect suddenly exploded the power in their bodies, turning into a stream of light and attacking Yi Xian together. Seeing this, Yi Xian's expression did not change at all. Attack him from all sides. That was good too. He would not have to kill them one by one.